In this video, I'm going to do a review of the Lincoln Power Mig 215 MPI. This is a multi-process welder. With the way this one comes, it'll MIG and stick weld. You can also buy it where it comes with a TIG torch, or you can buy the TIG torch later. But I'm not going to ever use it as a TIG welder since I have two other TIG welders. And right now, Lincoln Electric has a $400 rebate on this, so it makes it a really good deal. Yeah, so this is my Lincoln 210 MP that I bought about a little over a year ago, and I built this welding card. What I'm going to do is take the 210 off of this welding card and put the 215 on here. These welders are very similar. The outputs are the same. Then I'm going to take this welder with me to different jobs hooked up to this Honda generator that I got down here. And I'll show that in a future video, how I hooked that up and set everything up right. Yeah, and this is all the information on it. And if you buy the 210 right now, they give you a $500 rebate. So I don't know how long these rebates are going to go on for. Yeah, and for the 210, I also have the spool gun, and it's the same spool gun that this 215 uses. And here's what it comes with. Yeah, and here's what it comes with. This is that Magnum Pro 175 gun, which is a lot nicer than the ones used on the smaller machines. And the ground clamp. And all these welders now have these DINS connectors, gas hose. This is the electrode holder for stick welding. And the adapter, so you can, these are dual voltage machines, so you can plug it into 110 volts or 240. But the output's less when you plug it into 110 volts. And it comes with some tips and the drive rollers and the regulator. Yeah, and this is what the actual welder looks like. And they've changed the power cord on them. The 210 had a twist lock plug on here. They made it to where it's not like that anymore. And these have two gas valves built in, so you can put it on a cart with two tanks, and if you're TIG welding, you hook the argon up to one and the argon and CO2 up to the other one for MIG welding. Yeah, here's the instruction manual. And they always come with these little spools of wire. I never even use those. And it comes with a 2-pound roll of solid 30 thousandths wire. That's what I'm going to run, but I'm going to use 11-pound spool. And in here, it's got the switch to put it on spool gun. And this welder weighs 48 pounds. It's an inverter-based welder. And what that means is it's got circuit boards inside of it instead of a transformer, so they're a lot smaller and lighter weight. Most of these inverter-based welders are dual voltage. And this puts out 220 amps, so it's plugged in 240 volts, and it only draws 15 amps. With 220 amps, I can pretty much weld anything I need to weld. You know, and in the past, if I needed 200 amps to weld with, I'd have to use one of these great big MIG welders. Now you can do it with one of these small ones. And the drive roller that's in it's for either 23 or 30 thousandths solid wire. It also gives you a 35 thousandths solid wire drive roller and a 35 to 45 flux core wire knurled roller. And this is the tip that goes, the nozzle that goes on it when you're using flux core wire. Yeah, so now I'm going to hook the gun up, and it's pretty simple to do that. Just make sure this is loose in here, and the gun just goes in here. And then you're going to tighten this back down. And then after that, you're going to hook this cable up. And the gun plugs into the positive side with solid wire. If you're using flux core wire, it goes in the other one, the negative. Yeah, and if you live in a house where you don't have a 50 amp plug socket and you have an electric dryer, you could make it up an adapter and plug it in there. This is one that I made up for a 20 amp socket. And it works fine on 20 amps, that 210 did, which looks like this. And I actually here I like plugging it into the 20 amp socket because I have a lightweight extension cord I can use instead of having to unroll this great big cord. Yeah, so now we're going to put the spool of wire on, which is pretty easy. Yeah, then you're going to want to put this on here where the wire is coming from the top of the spool. And you're going to cut this off. And then you're going to turn it on, but you want to take the tip off too. And you want the gun to lay out flat. Yeah, then we're going to turn it on. And that's all there is to that. Yeah, then you're just going to put the tip and the nozzle back on. Yeah, then we're going to hook up the ground clamp, which goes in the negative side for solid wire. Yeah, so next we're going to screw the gas hose in it and screws into the top hole for MIG welding. The bottom one's for TIG. And this welder also has some new features. So if you look at this actual weld here, and when you change the settings, what this shows you what's actually going to happen to it. Yeah, and the 215 welder is 1.5 inches longer, so I'm going to have to cut these brackets off and move them forward. Yeah, so what I need to do next is cut these brackets off and get that welder on this cart, and then we'll show you how it actually welds. Yeah, so what I'm doing right now is removing these pieces. I'm going to remove all 4 of them, then I can move it back a little bit farther too. And I'm just using one of these cut-off wheels to do that. Yeah, so I got the 4 brackets removed. Now I'm going to set the MIG welder on there and figure out where I want it. Then we'll tack weld the brackets where I want them. Yeah, I just used the 140C to tack weld these brackets back on. Now I use the actual welder to finish welding it. Yeah, I got all the pieces welded back on there. Yeah, it welds good. Yeah, so now the paint's dry, I'm ready to put the welder onto the welding cart, and I'll do that off camera. Yeah, and here's what it looks like on the cart. Okay, now we're going to go over some of the settings. So this is standard 75-25 argon and CO2. And see, it even tells you how to set everything up. And which line the gas connection goes on. What diameter wire. Then it sets everything up for you. And you can also, some people use straight CO2, you can do it that way. And this is the manual mode where you can adjust everything yourself. And this is for fluxed cord wire. And see how you reverse the polarity? And then there's no gas required. Then for the spool gun, and the polarity stays the normal way with the spool gun. And the gas connection goes on the top still. And for stick welding, and stick welding, the polarity could be either way. And there's no gas required. And if you're using 60 or 70 rods, and for TIG, which I don't have the TIG torch, and the polarity gets reversed for the TIG torch, and the argon gets hooked up on the bottom hole on the machine. Then you can set it up for a foot pedal. And this is where you can go to change the settings, the English or metric, the language. The brightness. Here's the information. And you can also set certain, if you get certain settings you like, you can save it to the memory. So now let's weld with it and see how it welds. Yeah, that's just a piece of 1/4 inch plate that I'm going to weld on. And one thing I've noticed that's different about this welder is when you let off the trigger, the argon comes out for like about 2 seconds after that. Yeah, and it welds real good. Yeah, and this welder definitely does have a few advantages over the 210. Yeah, and with the $400 rebate that Lincoln Electric's offering right now, it's a really good deal. And that rebate's only for a limited time. And they're also giving some deals on some other welders like that.